Shalom. I want to give all praise and honor and glory to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushua, Hashem, Rakah, Wadash. I want to give double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who well, peace, blessings, and salutations to the elect, the hopeful elect out there, scattered around the four corners of the earth. Alright, this is going to be a quick lesson. I won't bring that many precepts out, just a few. So basically, this is an article that I found on RT News. Now, recently I've been talking about what's going on in Europe because we could always do videos on what's going on in America because America is where the main center of attention is for the scriptures. The scriptures focuses its center on Babylon the Great. Not only because that's the where you can find all 12 tribes living together, even though Israelites are all around the world. I always use this analogy of you can find every single tribe in America, but you cannot find every single tribe in the country of like Switzerland or Germany. You might find Judah, Benjamin, or even Gad or Reuben up in Germany, but you won't find all of the 12 tribes living together in on a single land continent. So that's why America is referred to as Babylon the Great and the captivity of the 12 tribes, the biggest prison houses of the 12 tribes, because you can find all 12 tribes living here, and it's the main center of prophecy. Anyways, so basically what's going on in Europe, as on my previous videos, I've done many videos, especially dealing with Italy, how in Italy they are having tensions over there with the migrants, okay? And this is going all around Europe. You got tensions in Norway, Denmark, over there, and in Sweden as well, because right now there are certain parts of Sweden that has been turned into crime-ridden areas, and a lot of these Edomites, they're not too happy with that, because now their beloved so-called land has now been turned to crime and just poor and drug and rapings, Now they are used to hearing rapings going on in the news, all because of these migrants. And this has been a surge and a spike in these cases, and a lot of people are not happy about that. So the French president, him knowing that, it says here, Macron can't ignore furious generals' warning. Okay, that's the general population, or it's probably talking about the military. Warning that terror attacks and Islamist hordes are pushing France towards civil war. A warning from 20-year-old retired army general that the Islamist hordes of the Benelux are causing France to disintegrate has been dismissed by the government. But as the terrorist atrocities continue, many citizens share their fears. Yeah, so right now there's a war against Islam in Europe, okay? As the wars break out in the Middle East, okay? The so-called Middle East, over there in that fertile crescent, and even stretching to parts of Asia, to the western parts of Asia. These immigrants, these migrants, they leave their country and immigrate into a new country. Some of them go into France. A lot of them go into France. A lot of them go to Germany, and they basically pick countries, European countries, that give them the most money with their welfare, packages. They'll avoid places like Turkey because Turkey, they're coming down hard on these migrants, and they're basically telling them that, look, we're not going to give you guys money, we're not going to do anything for you. It's either you take it or leave it. So a lot of them are leaving. They're going to places like Germany. They're going to places like Sweden, going to places like France, and this has been happening for like almost 10 years now. And that's one of the main reasons why European nations want to leave the EU. Okay, the thing is, if they leave the EU, their economy will collapse overnight, and their government will disintegrate because it's the EU that's keeping these countries a little bit stable than they are usually. Although France is home to Europe's largest Muslim population, which is true. Okay, it's either France, Germany, or Sweden. The simmering tensions over Islam's place in the secular republic are only ever a news cycle away from boiling over. In the space of just a week, there has been controversy over a court decision to free a killer without charge, the murder of a police worker on the steps of her station, and a call to arms from a group of retired generals who warned the actions of Islamist hordes in the Benelux risked the disintegration of the country and civil war. Frankly, it's hard to keep up, but while President Emmanuel Macron officials dismiss as bitter pensioners, a gang of retired military types who probably still rule today, President Charles de Gaulle put Algeria on the path to independence and chose the 60th anniversary of an attempted coup by generals to air their own grievances, and they do deserve some respect and even recognition of their views. Macron needs the help of Muslim world leaders, or France's tally of decapitated heads will continue to rise. Yeah, exactly. See, what's right now? What's going on in France is that those Ishmaelites, man, they're starting to push Sharia law, and they're starting to go out against these Edomites and decapitating their heads. So as you can see, that spirit of war is stirring up in the European Union, those European countries, man. Because if you don't know, there was a case that was done not too long ago. There was a video done by Elder Matana. I believe his name is Matana. I forgot how Matana Zakba. Roughly paraphrase. I forgot how to say his name, but the elder in what's it called, South Carolina. Excuse me if I don't say his name right, but basically he said that in his video, that the video that he was doing, there was a teacher in France, okay, and the French teacher disapproved of Islam, and then she made fun of I guess their prophet Muhammad, and then a week later, the teacher got beheaded, and the pictures of his dead body was sent to everybody in the school, okay, and it blew up, and it hit the news, man, okay, what that teacher did, and now, uh, not even now, but ever since then, there has been outrages and cries from these European citizens because they feel like, okay, these Ishmaelites that are coming over here, they're starting to replace us. They're starting to change our culture. You can see the Islamification of Europe. Before it used to be a Christian, somewhat atheist views. Now it's turned into a more Islamic uh, continent. And a lot of Edomites, they're not for it, man. They make no bones about it. France is disintegrating, disintegrating, disintegrating. Salaki. 20 retired generals and another 80 officers wrote in a letter published by Valor's Actuales magazine, disintegrating with the Islamists of the hordes of the Benelux, who are detaching swaths of the nation, turning them into territory subject to dogmas contrary to our constitution. They continue. It is no longer time to procrastinate, otherwise tomorrow the civil war will put an end to this growing chaos. A death for which you will bear the responsibility will number in the thousands. Strong language, for sure, but maybe you are right. All too often, another Islamist atrocity takes place on French soil over the past 4 years. 14 attacks carried out in the name of radical Islam has resulted in the deaths of 25 people, and 36 others have been foiled. Basically, they've been ruined. They caught those people, according to the government. The most recent was Friday when mother of two, Stephanie Monfettori, a 49-year-old police worker, had her throat cut in the entrance hall of the Rumble Louis police station by a 36-year-old Tunisian national identified as Jamel G, shouting the terrorist mantra of Allahu Akbar. So you can see the kind of the spirits that's up there in Europe, man. The Lord is turning that pot. Everyone against his neighbor. basically roughly paraphrase. This is second Ezra 13 and 15. For the sword and instruction drawn nigh, and one people shall stand up, fight against another, and swords in their hands. Yeah, we use this scripture for what's going on in America, but you gotta understand, man, these prophecies are actually starting to take over worldwide, man. You know, places in Europe, there's actually talks of civil war, race wars going on. You know, things are really, really, really starting to heat up over there. You know, different types of nations are starting to rise up against another nation. You can see it right here. Okay. Unsurprisingly, bearing in mind the location, the killer was shot dead by police at the scene. While brutal in nature, MME Monfetture's attacker was the recipient of a swift reprisal, which may lead to some sense of justice more than Sarah Halimi's family and friends will ever receive. France tells citizens to flee Pakistan as deadly anti-French riots intensifies over Emmanuel Macron's perceived flight on Islam. So yeah, you got a lot of French citizens over there as well in Pakistan and a lot of these Islamic countries, man, and they're starting to attack those French people, you know, because the court has decided not to send to trial the 27-year-old man who attacked, stabbed, and threw the 65-year-old Jewish woman, a retired doctor and kindergarten teacher who was his neighbor, from her third floor balcony while repeatedly crying Allah Akbar. The court alleged with a panel of psychiatrists that Kobali Traore was so stoned on marijuana during the attack on MME Halimi in 2017 that he could not be held criminally responsible and therefore would not face trial. Critics of the decision compared the case with that of the 51-year-old Marcelli man who, while drunk and on cocaine, threw his neighbor's French bulldog from a fourth floor window. Oh my God. just threw a dog out the window. Holy fuck. On New Year's Eve and claimed to remember nothing about it. Wow. Wow. He was handed a 2-year prison sentence with a year suspended. Damn, that's messed up, man. Concerning what appears to be gross miscarriage of justice and relentless bloody assaults on regular French citizens going about in their daily lives, you start to understand where the generals are coming from. And being generals of the retired variety, of course, there's no need for temperate language. You just ensure you grab the attention of those damn fools in charge and see how they respond. So yeah, this is pretty interesting, man. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to read this precept, this second Esdras 13 and 31. And one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another, one place against another, and here's the main point, one people against another. Okay? And you can see the Islamic people, the Ishmaelites versus the Edomites, man, it's taking place over there in Europe. Of course, you have Israelites among these two nations, but for the most part, from the outside looking in, it's Edom versus Ishmael over there in Europe. Okay? And that's the basically the main card, the main event of the evening in Europe. That Civil War main event. You got Ishmael, Edom over there in Europe. You got Jake versus Esau, and even the Americans versus the government over here in America, and probably up there in Canada as well. So you can see that things are stirring up. You know, they're gonna have to declare martial law if it gets too out of hand because there's a lot of over there in those European countries, there's a lot of right wing protests that are now starting to make guns, you know, to combat against what's going on in Europe. And white supremacy, the whole, what's it called? The movement over there, supremacy is growing in numbers, man. Just the other day, I saw on the news that in Spain, somebody had a 3D printer and was 3D printing guns, okay? With white supremacy slogans, okay? So this guy was a white supremacist in Spain, and he was making guns undercover in his basement for people, you know. And he sold a lot of guns too, and he made a lot of guns for people. So As you can see, man, people are getting really, 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 really upset about what's happening to their country. They see that their country is now changing, and they're gonna fight to take it back. Okay, I'll go ahead and end it off with a few more precepts. This is Isaiah 48 and 22. There is no peace, saith the Lord, Yahweh, unto the wicked. Okay, and that's plain and simple. That's the reason why these Edomites are catching hell now. It's because they see things are changing within their country. You know, civil war is on the horizon. Race wars are on the horizon. Things are moving swiftly in Europe, and it's not like the golden age back in the 80s and the 90s. Even going before then, where these Edomites were having the prime time of their kingdom, they see that the kingdom is going down, is going down at a rapid rate. That's why it says in Isaiah 14, the scripture says he saw Lucifer falling from heaven as lightning, roughly paraphrased. That Lucifer represents a nation of people. Okay, these Edomites, especially the elites, the governments, which in this case is referring to the average citizen, they're now falling down as lightning because before they used to be walking around like gods among the earth. Even though the elites were always, so-called gods in this world, but there was a time in history when these average Edomites were as gods in this earth. But now that's being taken away from. They're losing their immortality, so to speak, their immunity, and now they're being criticized and starting to catch a lot of hell. There's a scripture that came to mind. Let me see if I can find it. This is Isaiah 14. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, kingdom is translated. This is Sirach 10 and 18. Sirach 10 and 8. Salaki, excuse me. Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. And I was listening to Apostle Har's video about, riches being transferred over. And this scripture has stuck with me for a while. I keep remembering that precept because right now we're seeing a transition of power. Esau is going down and Jacob is coming up. And the more and more and more prophecies start happening, the more you see that there's a transition of power, man. And these Edomites, they're very scared to lose what they have. Right now, they're being called a minority. A lot of Edomites in Europe are now believing that they are the minority in Europe. Okay, so what happens when a rat is backed up into a corner? It starts fighting. Now imagine a devil, a demon, being backed up into the corner. The demons represents these Edomites. They're gonna start fighting, man. They're gonna see a lot of crazy shit, a lot of retaliations, a lot of terror attacks carried out by these Edomites. The only reason why nothing has happened yet is because there are not that the gun laws in Europe are very strict. Okay, they're very strict, and only a few people could get them. But once they get those guns on into these what's it called, these right wing people, they're gonna carry out their attacks and they're gonna start defending their country, and you're gonna see a lot of attacks on these Ishmaelites, man. It's gonna blow up into a full out war, especially during the time of Jacob's trouble. Okay, when all hell breaks loose and martial law is declared, everything goes. Okay, there's gonna be no such thing as laws, man. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and close it out, and I'll have another lesson coming, uh, probably this same day. But with that, I'm gonna say shalom.